Hello everyone, finally I've got here. As you know, I've been waiting for the rain to stop. I've been waiting for it to be warmer. I've been waiting for Eli. Now I've got Eli. It's not raining, but it's ever so chilly. So I'm going to sit outside for a little while and then I'm going to go back into the pub, which is one of my favourite pubs, the Howard Arms. So I'm going to go and have some lunch with Eli. But meanwhile, I want to say hello, and especially to the 40,000th member of this Facebook family. Dennis Dale, welcome. You are number 40,000, and that's pretty extraordinary, really. I don't know how many years we've been going with this page now, but it's a credit to dear Eli for all the work he puts in, and of course to you all who support it and come and visit and make remarks and post pictures. So thank you all very much. I think I said last time, I did a little quick tape last week because I was hoping to film more. And that was the day it was raining, but I did say that I wanted to tell you a little bit about my trip to America, which of course I got back just about 3 weeks ago now, and I had, as always, a brilliant time. I had to go to Eckhart, Indiana. It is, for those of you who don't know, the RV capital of the world. I tell you, I get to see some amazing things. I got to go to the RV museum. I can tell you an awful lot about different toilet systems that are in RVs, but perhaps now's not the time, eh? I was there with all my friends. It was a real sort of Superman event, and I couldn't have been treated better. But the flights, my goodness me, I was just flying all over the place to get there, because of course I flew from London to Los Angeles, and then a day later back to Detroit. Yes, Detroit. Then I took another flight to Eckhart. Then I got in a car. When I finally got there, it was worth it. Then I flew back to LA. And of course, part of the reason that I was in LA is that we had this extraordinary event at the Disney Concert Hall, I think it was called. And they had a screening of Superman 1 with the LA Philharmonic Orchestra playing the John Williams soundtrack in front of the screen. I hadn't seen Superman 1 in many, many years. And you know what really struck me was, my goodness me, how brilliant Christopher and Margot's relationship was. I mean, we know that Christopher Reeve was the best Superman. We know that Margot was the very best Lois Lane. But to watch them again, the first time they met on screen, as their love for each other grew, the whole thing was magical. So I'm now looking forward, hopefully, to seeing Superman 2 on the big screen, because that's what I'd like to do. Mark McClure was there. Mark also said that he hadn't seen Superman 1 in quite a while, and it was very poignant. And while I mention that, I have to say that I also, when I got back to England, shot a segment for a documentary that a French company are making, TV documentary about Christopher Reeve, celebrating his life, but particularly focusing on the fact that it's been 20 years. And I suppose I've never really been asked quite so many questions about Christopher. And I was surprised to find that I didn't really know him that well. I knew him as Ursa, but I didn't know him as well as, for instance, Gene Hackman. I spent more time with, I went out with, I socialised with Terry Stamp, Jack O'Halloran. Of course, Jack O'Halloran I know terribly well. But when it got to talking about Christopher, no, I didn't know him that well. We would play the part. He would see me as Ursa. I would see him as Superman. We would do our filming and go back to our respective dressing rooms. I have a sneaky feeling that he had a bigger and better dressing room than me, and it was somewhere else, because he certainly wasn't right by me in the daytime. And I didn't really get to know him that well. In the evenings, I went home and he went off, and I know, of course, as I've mentioned before, most of the cast were from America. Well, they were all from America, but they were on location. I was living in London, so I would go home at the end of the day, and at the time I was living with Richard. I then ended up marrying him, as you all know. So I'd go home and cook the supper, wash my smalls, get ready for the following day. You know, it was a very basic sort of lovely, quiet housewife type life. But the following day I would put on the gear and go in. Well, I didn't put it on until I got to work, but I would go into work and become Ursa. Then I would see Superman, and we would go into our Ursa Superman roles, and I don't think that he ever actually got to know me, which is a shame, and I didn't really get to know him. But what I did know is that everybody said how amazing he was, an extraordinary man to deal with that terrible tragedy, and his beautiful wife as well, and his family, who of course live on to carry the flag and the torch, especially for the Christopher Reeve Foundation. So that's good, that goes on. So I had that experience downtown, which was great. Jay Towers, my friend Jay, was there, and we went off to the Academy Museum. Now, if you ever visit Los Angeles, it's all very well going to Hollywood, but you know, that's all very commercialized. If you get the chance, go to the museum, the Academy of Motion Pictures. It's the Academy I'm a member of, and that's how I get to vote for the Oscars, through the Academy. If you get the chance to go, it is extraordinary. The most wonderful exhibition. I was there during the John Waters exhibition, which of course I loved, and I know John. I've known him over the years, and I thoroughly enjoyed seeing that. Also, The Godfather. They've got some fabulous exhibitions. Sadly, nothing to do with Superman at the moment. Well, let's hope that that will happen and we'll get some Superman stuff. So that was that. And then, of course, at the end of this rather hectic week of here, there and everywhere, I went to Vegas. I had to go very, very early the following morning, and I had to get to the airport at 6 a.m, so I was staggering a bit. But I got to Vegas. It was an interesting weekend. I say interesting because it was with a group of people that I didn't really know, mainly sort of horror film people. But Malcolm McDowell, now he was there, and that was fun to see him again. I reminded him, well, actually, I didn't remember I'd been in a film with him. Eli remembered, because I didn't actually share any screen time with him. He was certain that he had never done anything with me, and I think it was called Asylum. We had to look it up to prove to him that he was in something called Asylum along with me. So it was fun to see him. And then I flew home, went to London, did the documentary, which was, again, very interesting. So meanwhile, I'm just looking forward now to some decent weather, getting back to the allotment. And also, I have something else to show you. Eli has just had this made up for me, because I asked him to. It's a card. I think it's fantastic. I'm going to send this card to somebody very special. They're so special, I don't know their name yet. And I'm going to think of who that person is and how they're going to get it. I shall come up with one of my little, or Eli will come up with one of our little quizzes or one of our little clever remarks, and you come back with a clever remark, and then I choose you, and then you get a handwritten card from me. How's that? It's just at the moment I don't know who you are. But anyway, congratulations whoever you are when you get that card. Won't it be fun? So that's all for the moment. I'm going to get ready for the sun. Okay, come on sun, hit me. I don't think it's going to happen. See you guys.